So one of the great things about this project is that we are actually able to provide real-time data to the farmers to look at. This system is actually, these sensors are reading out, they're transmitting to the cloud, and then that's available on on your phone, on your computer. This allows those farmers to actually look at things in real time and make management decisions. A lot of the problems we have with the data we collect is it's annualized and it doesn't allow them to make management decisions on the fly. This allows them to do that. They can look at what's happening with that soil moisture and decide, maybe I shouldn't plant today. Maybe I shouldn't drive a tractor out there today. And this is another critical piece to this is actually looking at day-to-day management decisions and how we can affect that with technology. So a soil health management system is actually based on 5 principles. These principles are minimizing soil disturbance, having cover on the ground, having biodiversity in your system, having continuous living roots, and also having integrated livestock as part of your system. So one of the nice things about Chris Conley's farm, which we're on today, is actually that Chris has that integrated livestock. He's a dairy, he's integrating his livestock into his row crops. So we were out today actually looking at a field, and in that field currently is cover crops that were being grazed by cows.
I wanted to be involved in this project because I wanted to see what the benefits of cover cropping and the differences between a cover crop system and a conventional work system, to see what the water infiltration would be, the water runoff would be, and what kind of soil temperatures there are compared between the conventional system and a no-till cover crop system. We also had a really large rain event where we received 5 inches of rain in an hour and a half's time. And I went to the computer, I was watching that. It was really cool to see because the moisture at the top of the soil was really high. And then within an amount of time, you could see the percentages lower in the soil profile getting larger from when the water infiltrated deeper down. But then it was about 7 years ago, Dodge County Healthy Soil and Water was just starting up. I was used to having a cultivated field and I thought it had to be a clean field. I experimented with 5 acres. And after that year, I went 100% no-till and experimented with cover cropping on about 10 acres, and then planted green the next year, and then I planted 100% cover the year after that. So within a 2-year time, I went from tillage to planting green. You can actually see the comparison between conventionally worked ground to no-till cover crop ground. You can see the actual temperature differences and the water infiltration rates on soil profiles.
My name is Tony Pyrick. Our farm is T&R Dairy Farm, LLC in Watertown. It's 1,100 acres, cash grain and dairy. And I'm also the chairman of Dodge County Farmers Healthy Soil, Healthy Water Group here in Dodge County. With your water infiltration probes, it's opening up a lot of eyes. We need to have data and show the people what we're doing. You know, nobody wants to believe what you say, but when they have data, they can't argue with that. We know on regenerative soil with covers, you know, we have an infiltration problem. We don't have a runoff problem, it's the infiltration. With this program, it's going to answer some of our questions. Where is the water going and how fast is it in permeator going out into the soil? As far as seeing where the moisture is and seeing the temperatures of the soil, and when compared to a neighbor, you can just amazing when it rains and that to see what happens to your water and where it goes and water infiltration, the percent of water capacity holding. It's something that if I didn't do it, I never would have known. I mean, this is unbelievable to find this out. On our farm, we've never taken crop insurance. Soil health is our insurance policy. And we started no-till in the 90s and got that going. And when you see the difference in the organisms in living soil versus completely worked or dead soil, you know, we got to do something. We can't let the soil wash away.
So I'm Tom Cotter in southern Minnesota, just on the very west side of Austin, Minnesota. Nowadays we are no-till on 2/3 of the acres and 1/3 of it's organic, along with a grass-fed cow-calf pair of 50 head. And we grow corn, soybeans, peas, sweet corn, or sunflowers, and then also hemp. I think I got introduced to cover crops back in 1998. Me and my dad had a tile plow, so we did a lot of tiling after peas. And we started putting cover crops down to help infiltrate the water a little better, so it made it easier for us doing tile lines. And then it just kind of blew up from there, and started realizing there's a lot better things with the cover crops. The weed pressure is probably what I saw instantly. Saw a reduction of weeds. And then water infiltration was right there. When you get animals on the land, you really start noticing a lot of things when you just watch them, because they are more connected to the land than we ever will be. Our cattle generally are out in the fields probably 9 to 10 months out of the year. You know, we always put the same amount of fertilizer on every year, and we always saw different yields every year. And that really comes down to water, heat and water. And I can't control the heat, but I can monitor and see what the water is. I think with taking soil health practices, you know, you do cover crops, you do reduce tillage, you do livestock integration, and then you start looking, okay, diversification. And that's in your cover crops, but also your cash crop. And so this year being a dry year where it's harder on corn and soybeans, I see the sunflowers have just really done much better than I expected. Our hemp has done better. So you open that broader range out, and literally my harvest time is, I said before, I'm going up north to see the fall colors because I'm so diversified out with sweet corn, peas, and all that. And when you diversify, it just gives you options. And I always have livestock options for grazing. I always have options for planting cover crops. And corn and soybeans are great. It's a great money, but it's also a high input products. And I like products that don't take much to grow. The sunflowers are absolutely zero inputs except for planting, and they've done just great.
My name is Scott Lightly. Our farm is 360 acres, and we have a corn soybean rotation at this point. About 2/3 of our farm has been in our family for over 100 years. One farm's been in over 150 years. I'm the 5th generation on this farm, so it's special for me to take care of it. 2013 was a flood. It was just wet, and we couldn't get in the field, Everybody in the area was doing prevented plant, and I did too. Because it was prevented plant, the government wouldn't let me do anything with it, wouldn't let me bale it, graze it. So then my only choice was just to disc it down. Then when we went to plant in 2014, that soil was as nice as I've ever seen it. I didn't have a lump to be found. It was absolutely gorgeous. So that was my eye-opening moment, that this cover crop it's a real deal. It's changed my soil structure incredibly. I do strip tilling on our crops, both corn and beans. And right off the bat, when you do strip till, they cut your fertilizer recommendations in half. And so in the last few years when fertilizer price has been crazy high, that was a wonderful thing. So the other benefit of the strip till is my diesel fuel usage. So my whole tillage bill is 3/10 of a gallon of fuel. That's not much. The wheel traffic with GPS, everything's in the exact same spot year after year after year. I think that's a benefit too. The first 30 years of me farming, water was our biggest enemy. We always had too much. We'd have drown-out spots and floods and erosion and all these problems. And so our answer, because this is what the rest of agriculture did, was to plow in miles and miles and miles of tile to drain our soil. These water sensors that are in the field have been fun to have in the field because every farmer event or church group or whatever, the weather is the topic right now. And I can't tell you how many times I've pulled out of my pocket my phone and showed them these graphs that water sensor has made. It's been a wonderful source of conversation the last 2 years when it's been so dry. One of the things that I've enjoyed about this transition of the farm, beyond taking care of our family's land, is it's somewhat of a spiritual connection to the soil. You know, God tells us that we need to be good stewards of the land. I think that's been real satisfying for me.